we have...
Here and face your questions. You never have a press conference where you don't walk out.
We're not walking out.
To answer the
We're not walking out, and we're not...
Mr. Oldfield.
Yes, it's been a very frustrating year for journalists as the rules of political engagement became trickier. Welcome to the final edition of Media Watch for the year, and it's safe to say that for the rest of the program, the quality of the anarchy gets no better.
We have made the point you are going back to the full bench tomorrow.
And my response to
Patrick will be appearing there. But on this point, it is arguable that the employees were dismissed because they were members of a union. Okay, and it is an arguable case of unlawful conspiracy.
Jennifer, with respect...
Mr. Reith, you have really had a great deal of time to make your point.
That was just one of the rounds that Jennifer Byrne had with Minister Reith during the docks dispute. You'll note it was conducted with the deepest of respect for each other, which is shorthand for, I think you're an idiot. But allegations of ABC bias were in the air.
Communications Minister Richard Alston accused the ABC of bias in its coverage of the waterfront dispute.
Then, miraculously, your ABC is cleared of all charges.
A report commissioned by the ABC showed its television coverage of the waterfront dispute was professional and fair.
So there. No sooner had the docks dispute toned down than an election was upon us, and there was plenty more sledging about bias.
The head of the Liberal Party, Mr Linton Crosby, has joined the Prime Minister, Mr Howard, and the Communications Minister, Senator Alston, in mounting a sustained day-by-day attack on the ABC over its election coverage.
The think tanks managed to get their thinking a bit muddled.
ABC TV news coverage favours ALP by a factor of over 2 to 1.
Then a week later, miraculous new findings.
ABC TV news coverage has shown a dramatic shift in favour of coalition policies during week 3 of the election campaign.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister's favourite network, the Bullmore Network, was being twice as beastly about the coalition as about Labour. No matter, the ABC did plenty of apologising. It was Red Keza who was the coalition's bête rouge during the campaign.
It's a situation where we are not concocting any figures. I'm John Howard.
The question is whether you're omitting something.
Well, I haven't... Now, hang on, Kerry. I haven't omitted anything. Well, if somebody like Bernie Fraser...
Not a broad-based...
hang on. But isn't the Australian public entitled to know a little bit more?
Very shortly, there was a lot of respect flying about.
With respect, Mr Howard, I've looked back at the only newspaper report that I'm aware of.
But can I say, with every respect and not in any way wishing to be offensive, I think that is a ridiculous line of argument.
With respect, Mr Howard, the Senate is a very real issue in this campaign.
So much esteem between those two. Then, when the election is safely out of the way, things get more relaxed between the two old sluggers on the 7:30 report.
Every election is a separate identity, an island unto itself, if I can turn on its head a famous phrase.
Yes, John Donne, I see.
Indeed, that's right. Turning it very much on its head.
It's merriment all round. But the stand-in terrier was having none of the post-election soft soap.
Could you tell me where that quote came from?
Well, I actually don't have the notes here, but I can assure you...
Jennifer, you're on national television.
I think it was in the paper just this morning or yesterday, sir.
You think? Well, I read the papers every day.
I assure you, sir, she did say that you had shown disrespect to Aboriginal
Well, you can't even tell me where it came from. I'd like to know where you got that from, rather than go off with something that you can't tell me the basis of it on national television.
I can tell you precisely, but I just haven't got the actual article with me here. But can I ask you...
Then there was this unfortunate television moment.
And just following up that interview with Senator Heron, he was right. It wasn't Evelyn Scott, the head of the Australian National Reconciliation Council. It was Linda Burney, the head of the New South Wales Reconciliation Council, who said that he had shown disrespect in his criticism of Indigenous leaders. Sorry about that.
She probably did it with the greatest of respect. There is, of course, one for whom our respect knows no bounds.
There's no answer, there's no reason, no rhyme. Why we get the blues sometimes.
The man with the best-looking hair on radio, the $11 million marketing machine, the one who escaped the nick for contempt, the bloke with the blues sometime, and a penchant for borrowing the profundities of others. When he was about to be sprung for extensive borrowing from the book Brain Droppings for his Sunday telly column, he dropped the claim of originality.
Fruits of my insomnia.
Became
The fruits of insomnia.
While American journalist Mike Barnacle lost his job for borrowing from the same source, Lawsey kept his, but got crabbier.
And I'm sick of the opportunism, and I'm sick of the using. When they need you, they're on the phone. Oh, John, we'd love to come on the programme on such and such and such and such. Well, screw you. Go on somebody else's programme. I'm tired of it. And the Prime Minister on his hands and knees on a regular basis, crawling to one particular programme, boringly and constantly, because he knows that he'll get an easy ride. Haven't I heard that before?
The great tonsils was cheesed off. But a week later, it was all lovey-dovey again.
Sorry, but I had to apologise. I have no compunction admitting that my outburst was, to say the least, intemperate. No, I mustn't fool myself. It was petulant.
But then post-election there arose a whole fresh reason to chuck another tantrum.
You can't underestimate the Alan Jones factor in New South Wales. I mean, he has hundreds of thousands of listeners every day, and even though people like John Laws are extremely influential as well, Alan Jones seeks to exercise his influence far more than John or any other commentator.
Lawsey's stilo hair bristled.
John Laws launches attack on Alan Jones.
According to Tonsils, if you support one side of the game,
you become a whore. You're just used then. You're Lord Haw-Haw of an election battle or Tokyo Rose.
And he explained it all on the Uncle Ray show.
What was your intention?
My intention was to express concern and, to a degree, disenchantment with an industry that has become almost buyable.
Almost buyable? Well, here's the $11 million man bought.
That really is a terrific vehicle, that Hilux Workmate. Great name, too, isn't it? The Workmate. And that's what it is. They're all over Australia, about 500,000 of them running around our roads. I talked to my Toyota mates yesterday, not long enough. They wouldn't buy me lunch. They wouldn't buy me... Well, I had a lunch anyway, but they wouldn't buy me lunch. I went to Machiavelli to see my friend Giovanna. And I went with my Rams friend. And we had a terrific lunch, but Toyota didn't even offer me lunch. Where you're selling those Hilux, where you're selling those Camrys. Do you believe Camrys? They're all over the road. And from what I hear, more could be sold if they could get more stock.
Endorsement plugs for which Lawsey is lavishly paid. The great Tonsils was also quietly adding some libretto to Herb Alpert's Lonely Bull score.
Hello, world. This is John Laws.
Surely this was not the same stooge who took the trouble to put in such a memorable performance on the very first of the Tonsils Foxtel chat shows.
Welcome, Alan Jones.
Hello, John.
And terrific to see you.
You too, thank you. Congratulations on your show.
Thank you.
This will either make or break it.
Yeah. it's the way it's going to be.
Absolutely. Let's get down.
But the hero of Struggle Street is not without his defenders on this matter of national importance.
To his credit, Jones thus far hasn't dignified Law's attacks on him with any kind of reply.
Jones has done something he must find almost impossible. He has maintained a dignified silence.
Miranda and Sir Philip must have missed this 5.5-minute continuous display of dignity.
I've never publicly commented on colleagues that I've worked with. I've always felt that in running a sporting team you have to be sure you can line up at the bar and know that no one in your team could accuse you of talking about them behind their back. I've strenuously applied that approach towards broadcasting. It's most probably not the time to be modest, so may I say immodestly, the results seem to speak for that principle.
It's so gratifying that we have such moral giants spreading their fabulous thoughts across the island continent. And still he's going on.
Indeed, perhaps the problem in all of this is results, or what we call in radio, ratings. In relation to this election, I said it emphatically as I saw it. I make no apology for that. That's why it's called the Alan Jones program.
As far as I know, there's only one person who's managed to stop the hero in his tracks. Chopper Read.
If we turn the society to a situation where people please themselves about how they deal with those whom they don't like, then who is to be the next victim?
who throw stones better make sure they don't live in glass houses, Alan.
Well, we're not talking about anyone living in glass houses, Chopper.
Yeah, well, I never got arrested in a public toilet in London.
Yeah.
Oh, Chopper, I'm sorry.
Now we come to a part of the program that gives us no pleasure whatsoever. It's the invidious task of selecting a Reptile of the Year from a pit that includes many richly deserving nominees. You'll recall some of them. Ros Thomas from Today Tonight in Perth for her insightful portrayal of a neighbourhood at war with an Aboriginal family. Ace Richardson for a body of work too richly textured to traverse in its entirety. Greg Quayle, another Today Tonight contender, for the excitement of the Humpty-Doo haunted house. Fairfax's Bettina Arndt for her admonitions about the TV portrayal of a school teacher's love life. Channel 7's Anne Fulwood for attacking a couple of school kiddies. The Daily Telegraph's Raymond Chesterton for a sensitive portrayal of the murder of Frank Arkell. Munsey Munro from A Current Affair for his commitment to the struggle of the working class. And for the team effort, the judges voted unanimously for Channel 7's Today Tonight, superlative in the miracle cures and stunts department. But in a market economy in the level playing field format, there can only be one winner of the gold reptile. Step forward, radio's nighttime voice of reason, Stanley Zamanek. He clinched it with this fine piece of late-night Socratic discourse with a school student who wanted to join a march against racism. We'll let it wash over you as we say goodnight till next year.
Well, I'm calling you a dill. I'm calling you an idiot. I'm calling you a fathead because I can tell you why. You have got no idea what you're talking about. Let me tell you, son, if you were my kid and you come back to me and said I marched in that protest march in Sydney at the age of 16, I'd kick you right up the arse because I think you're a spoiled little brat.
I'm a spoiled little brat?
You're a spoiled little brat. A petulant, spoiled little brat.